Let the dragon consume you! Enemy sighted. Stop the payload! Stop the payload! In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Birdwatcher's back at it one more time. Here's your host, Ryan and Clay. They're about to bring you some sweet Overwatch action.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of the Overwatch World Cup. And I suggest listening to them in that order. Wouldn't you say so, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely. Do not listen to part 2 and then listen to part 1.
Yeah, that'd be
it ruins the
weird.
experience.
Yeah. How's your week been, sir?
It's been all right. Oh, I've been playing. Okay, so I updated. I know we're not doing any news or anything like that, so we're gonna get straight into it. But I updated my PC finally.
Nice.
Yeah, I updated my motherboard, my RAM, and my CPU since those were bottlenecking my graphics card. And now I've been running perfect frame rate. Well, at least steady frame rate. So I'm running. I have a 144 hertz monitor. So I've been running about 154 without any issues, and it just completely changed my game. I've been jamming games, man.
Oh, yeah. Feels a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been climbing like crazy. So I definitely. So all that to say is that, the machine you're using and the experience you're having as far as just performance outside of playing the game and how well you play, that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I saw the biggest change when I upgraded from a normal 60 hertz monitor to a 144 hertz monitor. If you have not done that yet, that is easily the biggest thing you can do. And then obviously graphics card and whatever, a good CPU go a little further too. But that was the biggest upgrade for me.
Yeah. And the other part of it is I'm finally into my PTO part of the year, where a lot of my plans got canceled throughout the year. So I had a bunch of fucking PTO. So for November and December, I only work 3-day weeks.
Okay, that's not too bad at all.
It's pretty solid. So
Yeah, man.
I finally get to play a fuckload of like Overwatch and Hearthstone. I still love Hearthstone.
Oh, of course I'm Hearthstone. It's been some up and down though for me emotionally. Fran, I wake up every morning and I don't. We're not going to get into this too much, but I do watch Fran every morning. He hadn't been playing this week.
Yeah.
He was on, he was off. We'll get a solid answer in there sometime during one of our news episodes. But man, it's been rough for me. I love waking up to that guy, and
it's a roller coaster.
I hope he gets well soon. You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
So.
And that being said, so I wanted to give a shout out to a video I watched recently this week by, if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, I think it's Yiska, guy who's been putting out a lot of content. Definitely check it out. Really quick, like 25-minute videos. And he's been very active on the competitive Overwatch forums as well. But he recently put out a video kind of going through a quick analysis of the Atlanta Reign team. And, obviously us going to be Atlanta Reign fans, or are at the moment.
Yeah.
And then waiting to get more news and more stuff on that. Definitely check that out because he gives a good overview of where these guys are coming from, because there's a lot of names there that people are familiar with and people that aren't. And what they bring to the table, and what type of team the Atlanta Reign can be, considering it's, of the expansion teams, we have the most information about them.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out, and we'll get into that in later episodes as well. So,
Absolutely, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super hyped, man.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I'll be at DreamHack on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, you lucky SOB.
I know, right? All the good stuff happens
dope.
here. So hopefully, Atlanta Reign said they're going to have a couple people there representing. So we'll see what happens. And I know a lot of the Atlanta Overwatch community is trying to either do like a fan meetup or hangout thing. So we'll see what happens. And
Awesome.
I'll talk about that if anything goes
Yeah,
down.
that'll be sweet.
Hoping to bump into people, definitely. I've been
Yeah,
on Twitter
yeah.
trying to connect, so we'll see.
Cool.
Let's get into it. You ready?
Yeah, part 2, man. Let's do it.
Part 2.
All right, who we starting with? UK, South Korea was the first game of that Saturday morning. Yeah, I think it was Saturday morning is when we kicked this one off.
Yeah. So from the start, how did you feel about this? Like, what did you expect? I mean, South Korea, right? So
Yeah. I mean, UK looked good day before going into it. Obviously, they performed a lot better than I had predicted, beating US pretty handily. And I think they did put up a good fight. I mean, the tank lineup was really solid throughout this entire time. I mean, Fusion, obviously, we now know he's been picked up, has impressed me. Like, by far. I mean, he's just been insane. So,
and the fact he's a shot caller is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was exciting to get to see him play against a team that just watching this team play, South Korea, and I watch it with the World Cup viewer. Dude, they are so in sync. They're so on point, man. They look really good. So getting to see UK battle against them, and we got 2 draws out of this map 4.
Yeah,
which is crazy. So
it was pretty insane. And it started off in usual fashion with South Korea, is that and even when you watch like NYXL or the London Spitfire during season 1, you always see the dominance from the beginning. They try to kind of impose their will and put that pressure on people because they already have the status behind their name. And that happens here because we start with Control, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we saw it. Yes, on Nepal.
Yeah. And that first round, just dominant. People are like, oh, here we go. South Korea doing South Korean things. And, for a while, then we go into round 2, and it's actually some pushback. And we're like, okay, UK's not folding to that pressure. The one thing, though, that stood out here, which we've talked about, is because UK's known for their goats, is the way to break up goats is to pick off someone, just anyone, because it's so reliant on all the pieces involved, and that's what South Korea does really well from the beginning. Is like Farah on Fleta on Carpe, and then or Fleta on Farah and then Carpe on Hanzo. They're able to pick heads, and they break it down, and they're able to steal that first map from UK.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy to see because. I hate to say it, that Fate, I don't think he's as good at Reinhardt, or maybe not as comfortable. Obviously, he's very good at Winston. We saw a lot of that in season 1. But once he switches over, he figures out, well, the Reinhardt, might not be comparing to him. He switches over to the Hammond, and it's really disruptive. He's like, I'm going to switch off this, and I'm going to stick to this guy, and it's really disruptive against UK. It doesn't seem like they know what to do against this character that's backlining a lot of the time too. So it's cool to see that they switch over to something new when they see they're not performing at their top. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that aligns, right? Because even during the regular season, I don't know if you remember, we talked a lot about Fate's Reinhardt compared to the other Reinhardts like Fraggy, Fissure, Miro. Like, it was a lot of times whenever he was going against those guys, he was always the one losing. Yeah. And that's something that we've kind of known is, I want to say, the ceiling of his Reinhardt play. But his Winston play, like you mentioned, is definitely what puts him over the top throughout this whole series.
And I think a lot of that, too, has to do with how good Fury is at Diva.
They brought him in halfway through the season, right?
Right, yeah. And obviously, Zarya is just the better pick with Ryan. But Fury, man, he is insane. There's a point on King's Row where he lands a big bomb and he just searches out the Pharah immediately of UK, and he just takes him out, man. He seems like he always knows what's going on. He's one of those guys when the fight is over, not in their favor, he takes out somebody with him, or 2 people with him, and that really slows down the push, especially on King's Row, man. He does it a few times in the streets where he's just taking out one guy after another, even though they have wiped.
Yeah, and that's, I'm happy you brought up King's Row because that was our first draw. And what it seems to be the theme here and then on Volskaya when they draw again is that, South Korea is still playing at the level they play at, but UK is able to make these very clutch plays to keep them in it and keep this series going on. So in King's Row, you talked about like Jonak and Fleta going nuts, and then Fury on Diva, but then you have this case where like
KYB
Kib steps up on Roadhog when they're on their second round on defense because they don't have an attack there because they're out of time. He steps up on Roadhog and gets every single hook he needs to get to like displace South Korea and stop them from getting a legitimate attempt. And that's what helps them get that draw, right? And then when we move into Volskaya, the same thing is where Smek steps up, where he makes a brilliant sneaky Diva bomb to get a 3K and blow up that last attempt for South Korea to take that map, which helps them get the draw there. So, yeah, it's one of those cases where South Korea, they're just solid all around, and they're consistent, especially in this format where it's not like a long format over multiple weeks. It's just like, hey, you're playing all your games today. Their endurance is proven.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was kind of a turn of fate, I guess. We saw on Friday how good their defense was.
Did you say it was a turn of fate?
Yeah, what is? Yeah, I guess.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
That's pretty good.
Do you plan these?
I'll write them down beforehand. Yeah.
I swear, you just the whole week you're just thinking about, okay, what puns am I going to throw
right in here? Yeah. I almost said turn the page, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But how good they looked on offense. I mean, we obviously know them as a very defensive team. They looked really good on offense this time around, too. So, yeah, man. Would they take this one 2-0, I guess, with the draws?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And we're bringing back map of the match. We apologize for forgetting that at some point, like halfway through our recordings. Like after the regular season ended, it kind of fell through because our format kind of shifted a bit to adjust for different events that were going on. But the one I want to talk about is Rialto. So even though you had the 2 draw maps, which are great, this whole series is great to watch. But you had the 2 draw matches, but the one that actually stood out was that Rialto match because, like we mentioned in the previous one, and something that's been talked about on the competitive Overwatch forums lately, this is where there's a lot of Lucio focus, right? And man, was it crazy. You had Cruz and Animo just performing out of their mind on Lucio. You started the map off on South Korea Attack with the double boop from both Cruz and Animo.
I didn't know how that one was going to go, actually. I was like, oh, who's going to win this team fight now? This is insane.
Exactly. It was insane, and the crowd was going wild, and it was something that's probably the first map where you've had the most Lucio coverage as far as spectators are concerned.
I got to go over to him. I'm stuck on Joe Knack, man. It's so tough. Lucio moves around a lot, so it's kind of jarring. So maybe I'll switch over to this. This Rialto, though, this was an insanely close match because UK does stop him pretty early in that second part, and Canada's kind of poised to get it. But, man, South Korea puts a huge defense
UK,
up there.
UK, not Canada.
What did I say?
I think you said Canada. We're getting there. I know you're excited. I know you're excited, Clay. We're getting there, all right? But no. So the other part of that Rialto map, performance-wise, it's almost like if this was a map 5, right? Like if this was a map 5 situation, this would have been insane.
Oh yeah.
Because even Mikey A on Zarya versus Carpe on Zarya, they're both playing out of their mind as well. How fast they're getting their grabs, how well they're setting it up, and knocking it down. And a lot of these fights on Rialto are even fights where it's not like one team just rolls over the other.
Right.
So it's great to see. Overall, it's great to see UK still have this fight in them when they get to this point, because they still have something to prove. This whole tournament has been them proving something. So, point proven.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have another game a little bit later that afternoon.
Yeah.
China versus. This was fun for me for some reason. I don't know what it was. Just knowing that you were probably upset this entire time. Not just a little upset, just oh man.
We'll go through it and I'll get into it after it. It's okay. So I'll start off with this. We have an endurance problem, right? Canada has an endurance problem where I just spoke about South Korea being able to push the gas pedal from beginning to end. But in this situation, it felt like we just ran out of gas. And I don't know how you fix that besides scrimming and doing stuff like that. And we, Jan didn't mention that we didn't have the Canadian team didn't have a lot of time to practice together. So that's part of it. But
it's a common excuse, yeah.
It's a common excuse. It's a common excuse. But yeah, it's definitely like if I had to say what was the cause here, it looked like Canada ran out of gas, and to go up against China, which is the other piece of what I said in part 1 is that China's not a GOATS team, so we didn't practice much according to Jan, and then we also didn't practice much for anything outside of GOATS. So you stack those two together, and China's young, man. It's a bunch of young cats, so.
Got anything else in
No,
it?
that's all. I think I maxed out at 3. I maxed out at my 3 excuses. Okay.
I will say that we know Mangachu is a very good Pharah player, and we want to see him in the air. But man, they use all their resources to do this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And as soon as China figures this kind of thing out, because obviously you're not running 2 main healers, you're usually running some kind of Lucio. You're obviously running the Mercy.
Yeah.
So they got Mangachu in the air a lot of these times with the Mercy, because China's playing this McCree a lot of the time as well, just to combat it. China said, they give up on that kind of thing. They start diving XQC over and over because it's so difficult for the Mercy to fly down, get in the middle of everybody. So it just seemed like they were pushing that a little bit too hard, especially against a team we know plays McCree. China is just notorious for this McCree. It's just crazy because he plays it in such a way that he just kind of sits there in the middle of these fights, and he's just there to get people to have about half HP, let the big tank lineup finish the rest, and the stun. I mean, he's really just there for those two things, and kind of to be bait, because people are going in on him. I don't know. It just seemed like China had figured out what Canada was up to real early on.
Yeah. And you mentioned the key point, the McCree, is that China never gave up on McCree. It's almost like that is the character that defines their country's Overwatch play. And
absolutely.
Because they kept playing McCree, they got better than everyone else at McCree. And S4 got outplayed. Well, Sure4 got outplayed a lot here.
Oh man, this was
situation.
rough to watch him the whole time. He was performing really well on Zarya, which is something we see in GOATs a lot. Obviously in GOATs, but man, every time he would switch over to the Sombra, it seemed mediocre. Obviously the Widow, just the Widow play on Blizzard World alone was just, he stuck on it for so long and
wasn't there.
And China had all this HP, all this healing that, dude, he could get nothing done.
Which is weird, right? In my book, at least when I was watching, because I was also drinking. But it was one of those cases where
I would be drinking too. Man, this was rough to watch.
Like the part one, we talked about how well that Widow was and how dangerous he was. And usually an answer that I expected was, if their McCree's popping off, you pick Widow if your Widow can pop off. Because just by the numbers, you should win that one out and help balance those numbers. But like we said, when a South Korean team forces you to play the character they want you to play, it's never a good time. That's exactly what happened here with S4. And I mean, the stats. Leave had 23% of his damage on that first map and only died 5 times.
Yeah, it's insane.
So he's doing the most work, and we can't kill him. That's a problem. I
do have 2 really big plays of the game.
Okay.
And this was Blizzard World, and this is from Canada, so they really did perform. Something it's very difficult to do. It took Grimzo 3 minutes to get a nano, which is almost impossible to do. So really hats off to him.
Yeah. Grimzo showed up, man.
No,
sorry.
It took him 3 minutes to get the nano.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
I was just fucking with you at this point, Ryan. This was a feat beyond the AKM blade. Yeah. I'm sorry. I kind of set you up there.
You set me up, man. It hurt. Yeah. It hurts already. All right, I'll let you have it.
Yeah, and agilities is like, I've had my blade since Vietnam. And it's crazy because they do finally connect the nano and the blade, only to be slept immediately.
Yep.
It was a big drop.
It's like a completely different team from day one.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I used all my excuses, even though none of them are valid. I mean, this is unacceptable. I don't know if after we won that day, they went and partied.
Oh, they had to have.
But
just out there in what was it, in San Diego? Yeah, it's in San Diego. I don't know. Or is it San Francisco? It's San Francisco.
I'm not sure where the whole thing takes place.
Oh, and then my second one was they get Temple and Anubis, 7 minutes. This is a record time to get point 2. What are you doing those 7 minutes? I don't know, man. But it's all around pretty rough. But China looked good. China looked good. China looked great.
What else stood out here? I mean, it's hard because Canada really, China played well, but Canada underperformed. Like if they would have played like this in the first round of matches, they would have been out in the first round.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Would have seen US make it to round 2, but
and it's
rough.
So we talk about Lee's performance. Lee is the MVP of this match to me.
Oh yeah,
because even on Blizzard World, when he swaps he plays mostly Doomfist here, and he has 34 limbs and 19 final blows and 3 deaths on fucking Doomfist. Excuse my French. That is insane.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I know the character is kind of broken right now, but still, he dies very often. But he died less on Doomfist than he did on McCree.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I think he is a huge part of the 7-minute hold because he would come out there on Doomfist, get the one-shot kill, kind of float around, use those abilities just to, be evasive. And, dude, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
That to be said, yeah, China takes it. So we have our bronze medal match is going to be Canada versus UK, and our finals is going to be South Korea versus China.
Yeah,
right. That's what this sets us up for. So we can get into those.
All right, getting into our bronze game. This was a sweet 5-game set. No spoilers, but man, this was a good match for sure.
That was funny. You started off with our bronze game as if we were doing like some kind of minor league.
Yeah, I've seen streamers do that.
Yeah,
like the bronze. Oh, they are so funny. They're so funny to watch. They're so good. But yeah, so we do get to see UK battle it out with. Wait, I see. Yeah, versus Canada.
Yeah, man. Wait. Yeah, this is for third place.
Yeah.
See, I threw myself off with the reference, and I was like, "What are we talking about?"
This is for bronze.
Yeah. So this was a great back and forth. Here, definitely one of those cases where the way we performed against China, right? We just talked about it, and it was depressing.
Yeah.
But I figured we were going to go in here and get rolled by United Kingdom because United Kingdom, like China, is a team that has their stuff together. And when it comes to that whole concept of, endurance, I was like, we're done, we're tired, whatever. Once again, I was drinking. And it was over for us. And we hop in, and UK starts off super strong, right? I think it starts off with Kib with that long-range hook, which he hits a long-range hook on Sombra on Sure 4, pulls him all the way in, gets the kill, and they get the initial cap. And I'm like, here we go, right?
Yep. Just starting it off strong. Yeah, map 1 was Busan, correct? I think I wrote this down.
Yeah, it was Busan.
Yeah.
And
yeah, this was go ahead, sorry.
No, I mean the theme of this one was essentially that United Kingdom did a great job of focusing on the objectives where Canada focused on kills and trying to get everything together, mainly because United Kingdom was doing a great job of splitting us up. I talked about the hectic approach that I thought was so ingenious, which I still do think was ingenious of them to do. And we're now playing a team who does play GOAT, so it works here. But the execution we had in that quarterfinals did not carry over here, so now it just looks like a mess, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, United Kingdom focusing on getting the percentage they need to get. They do a great job of stalling points, and they just manage the points overall better. So they win with objectives here, which it's an objective game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely love to get to see Boombox switch over to the Moira because this is, I think, we don't see hardly any Moira play all weekend.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn that character, go and watch this guy because he sets his heel ball up in some really cool spots where his team will, because he'll have like an overhead ledge, and he will bounce it up and down, and his team will almost just play on top of it because how much healing it will do. It was really cool to see. We obviously he plays an insane Zenyatta. We get to see mainly Zenyatta and Ana from him, but when he switches over to more, it's a treat for sure.
Yeah. The one saving grace here, so we do come back in it, right? So after that first start, then Canada kind of gets back into it, and it's mainly on the back of Sure 4, right? Which obviously Sure 4 is kind of that guiding light for the Canadian team. He always is. And his Zarya on Blizzard World is insane. His name is constantly on the right. Like if you just watch any of the kills, he stays high energy the whole game. And Agilities does do well on Brogan as well, so that helps out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That helps out, and our defense is starting to become stronger. So it's like even though our attack isn't 100% great, we're doing better on defense, which, as you would know from our previous episodes, is something the Korean teams are usually better at. They're usually better at defense than they are on offense. And that's what kind of gets them through the games.
I will say, I wish I would have seen Zarya or Sure 4 play a lot more Zarya this whole weekend, because, like I said, when they were playing China, if he would have just skipped the whole playing Widowmaker for 75% of the map, and they would have just stuck to something a little bit more traditional, a little bit safer.
Yeah.
I hate to say it is a little bit safer because obviously you have a high HP target with a lot of damage output if played correctly, and he was doing really well, especially in this set against Great Britain. he looked really good, and they kind of just skipped the nonsense and kind of got to the point.
And United Kingdom made some mistakes here, where might be more to experience, right? Like when we talked about Australia, just being a newer team as far as composition. I had a little crack in my voice there, but can't be deep all the time, right? But yeah, there was a part here which I was like, okay, that's a bronze ass move, right? Which was when UK did that super push up into the spawn, where they overextended. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And then they get booped off the side, and I was like, what are you guys doing? And from that point forward, they cannot stop Canada's momentum.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they were in such a great spot. Yeah, man. I wonder who made that call.
I don't know.
Probably, Fusions, right? It had to be Fusions.
Yep. You son of a bitch. I was just talking so well about you. Yeah. What is also really cool to see is obviously XQC, dude. He can play the Reinhardt really well, but he's opting to play the Winston in a lot of these fights. The Winston goats, because he can play that disruptive Winston, and when you get to get people to turn around, and Surefour is just open to just beam people with the Zarya high energy, man, it's crazy because it's so difficult to get high energy off Winston compared to Reinhardt. Because obviously, Winston can move around a lot more. You can time it with your Reinhardt because he has, the shield that goes up instantly. It was cool to see because it kind of took, Great Britain back a little bit just because, they're so used to playing the Ryan v. Ryan. And I think that's what they're, designed for, is Fusion being the better Ryan.
Yeah, and something you'll see here is how good XQC is at super jumping, right? And it's when he's just jumping naturally, it's like things are just constantly it's like dropping a stone constantly in a puddle of water, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like there's just constant ripples in the fight, so the fight's constantly being displaced, and it's like you either deal with him and then you have the rest of the Canadian team picking people off, or you ignore him as much as you can and try to get someone else, because it's very difficult to focus all things on him because he'll just leave, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just gets out of there.
Yeah, it's insane. What else did you have from this one?
I mean, I think that's all I had.
Yeah, so for me, I wanted to point out, so our map of the match for this one is Junkertown, which is right before they do Lijiang. So this is one of the few, I think this is the only match that goes to 5 games, by the way.
All weekend.
Yeah, all weekend. And Junkertown here, there's a part on Attack for Canada where they start with something very smart, where they use Symmetra and Bastion, where they teleport Bastion to the top of that shed, right?
Yeah.
To do a scout before they set up pirate shit, because they figure that the UK team is going to play more aggressive because of how long they stalled UK on their attack attempt, right? So they have to play aggressive like that. The twist here is that United Kingdom opt to play Mei. We have Kib on Mei, and I'm just like, okay, that's interesting, and they cause a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a brilliant play here where go back and watch this if you haven't, listeners. Is there when you get to the bridge part of that first travel to first point, there's those 2 doorways, right? And they set up in that doorway and they use wall cycles for Mei to stall the cart, but they don't give any access to start fights, right? So literally both teams are waiting on opposite sides of the wall, and Canada can't get off the point because they can't move it if they get off. And if they stay on it, then they can't contest to that door because there's no other way to get in besides going all the way around the building. And I think they go through like 3 wall cycles and a Mei ult and everything to stall Canada as much as they need to. And I was like, that is, that was great. They did it. I think they did everything right. The only thing was they couldn't, with that strat, they couldn't adjust once agility swapped to Pharah, and they had no answer. And that's where, like, between Pharah and then S4 Sombra, they carried it away, and the momentum carried Canada through it. And we were able to pull it out and take this whole thing.
I was going to say, I think this is the first time all weekend that I got to see Pharah, like, really do some damage.
Yeah.
It's
funny, you talked about Mangachu, right? And that's why Mangachu will always be weird to me on that team, is that Agilities can essentially play all of his characters better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
The Doomfist is arguable because Agilities just picked up the Doomfist, at least what Jan told us. But when it comes to Genji, when it comes to Pharah, when it comes to these characters, Agilities is just a better option. Yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, Canada takes it 3-2 here.
Yeah, not taking anything obviously away from Mangachu, but it's just how the team was set up. It's weird. Just a side note, I accidentally on the World Cup viewer the maps are backwards, and I think I talked about this last
Do
time.
it again.
So I watched Lijiang Tower first, and I was like, what the fuck? How did Great Britain take this to 5? Because that was a 99.99, both maps. And I was just like, what the? There's no way this goes to 5. It's messed up. Something's wrong. So
that's funny.
But yeah, you got to watch them the opposite direction.
I like how we start off with the disclaimer on the listen to this one after you listen to part 1, because you would get on her website and you would go listen to part 2 and be like, shit, I listened to the end.
Oh yeah, this is it seems backwards, but I'm gonna watch the whole thing just in case.
So we took bronze. And my feelings on that, I'm gonna take a little minute to say.
Go for it.
Everybody was congratulating me. They're like, yeah, you guys did it again. I was like, yeah, but the fact that we stepped down a medal from year to year, we got silver last year, right? The fact that we struggled against 2 teams that essentially weren't in the running last time. And that doesn't make me feel well, because next year is just going to be more difficult. So I don't know what we need to do. I don't know if there needs to be some pre-planning, but I'm happy we placed, yes. But it's kind of a trend line that I don't want. It's a trend downwards. So hopefully we can make it out of quarterfinals next year. Right?
Yeah. Don't qualify. Ooh, that'd be
rough. Man, don't. Why do you have to take it there? Why?
Don't even.
Not even make it a top 8.
It's gonna be like Brazil just beating you guys.
Shut up. I'm done with you. All right. South Korea versus China. The finals, grand finals. We did it. We made it.
Yeah. I was pretty happy to see China get here, because obviously after Overwatch League Season 1, everybody kind of wondered where China was on the Overwatch esports scene. They're good at Overwatch. You just gotta,
Clay with the definitive. You heard it here, guys. That was the statement that matters.
I will not defend whatever Shanghai Dragon was. But.
Oh no, that was. I can't wait for the documentaries to happen.
Yeah, wipe your face off, or wipe that smile off your face, Kagura. You guys suck.
Next year will be different, because there'll be 4 Chinese teams, so one of them has to be good, right?
Yeah, I would hope. I would hope.
So let's say this first of all: China didn't make it past the quarterfinals in the last 2 World Cups. So the fact they're here right now is insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely, huge improvement for sure.
So, but. That being said, and this is not taking away from China, South Korea's performance here made it look like an NBA team playing against a college team.
Yeah, it's like if David and Goliath went the opposite direction.
If it turned out exactly how you expected the story to turn out.
Holy shit, Goliath whooped the shit out of David.
Stepped on him.
We can't put this in the Bible.
There's no moral to the story. We got to take that out.
Yeah, that's a terrible. The moral is, holy God, this big guy just beat up the little guy. So. But yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah,
but no. So like, I mean, even then, I mean, there's still some stuff here that showed out, mainly from South Korea's side. Actually, I'll start from China's side. Crystal's insanity, right? And there were a bunch of. With the viewer being out after World Cup happened, there were a lot of people that, like a lot of coaches that went and looked at the people on specific, viewpoints and stuff like that. And one thing I know, keep talking about Chan, but he was the coach for Canada, so deal with it. He said that he looked at Crystal's POV video, and was like, he couldn't explain why this kid is so good.
Yeah, he's insane, man. He's really good. Definitely going to go back and watch some more of him and Leave, especially round 1 against Finland and obviously against Canada. They did, both their DPS players really good. The tank's not as much in the limelight because it's a little bit quieter against, dude, Fury, just this entire time, just insane. Big thing that stuck out to me is Korea, obviously. They've played really well together. They played together for a long time. They just get to pick whatever fight they want to take. They get to speed boost in. A lot of the times we'll see Fleta on the Brig. Obviously Jonak on the Zenyatta or the Ana. Man, they just go in. They're like a ball of fury, if you will.
I'm sick of you.
And they just go in and they just take these fights, Ryan. I'm just being serious here,
No, but you're 100%.
The ball of fury.
Exactly. You're 100% right, though, is that every time I watched it, they imposed their will. where they choose the fights they want to fight. They literally get to execute every setup they have to on your favorite map, right? So Temple of Anubis, there's a point where Fate's able to do a Winston start, like a fight starter, where he gets real high up, and essentially as they walk into to attempt point 2, he jumps down to initiate the fight, and then they pop like a grab or they pop a diva bomb, and he's in the middle of their team disrupting everything and laying down that initial damage. He does that 3 times, right? Things like that. And then even when they do these setups, they're still winning out when it comes to ult economy. So they're in complete control of this whole thing. And you go back to King's Row, right? The only thing that allows China to get point 1, because they were probably going to do a full hold, is that Crystal pops off and has a 4 or 5k on Genji. Yeah, like it's those heroics that allow them to move forward, and that's the problem. That if you need heroics just to play a even game, and even then you're still playing behind, you're going to have a rough time.
Yeah, it's not how Overwatch is set up. Sadly, it's not. It's not like Counter-Strike where you can get 3 or 4 kills as a single player and take over the game. Man, it's tough because South Korea does these things where they set up what looks like it is going to be. You lose a guy, you'll generally back up. It was crazy because they would lose, an off support or an off tank, and they would just back up a little bit, and it looks like they're going to back out of the fight completely, and then they'll speed right back into you or go right back into you, and that really catches people off guard. That's something that you do not see on almost any occasion in Overwatch. Generally, it's a backup, a reset, and get into it. Yeah, it's like South Korea comes right back into you.
It's like a soft reset, which is hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you just said that. But it's funny you just said that because we'll get into a moment where China almost tries to do that, and they fail, and it costs them, I don't want to say it cost them the match. It cost them extending their opportunity. But to your point, we talked about setups. There was a point where on King's Row where Crystal was trying to set up an EMP to kind of turn the fight in the streets, and he gets gets the EMP off. Yeah, he hits everybody, but they're unable to follow up because they're not in control, and then it fails. And then that's just a testament to that whole thing. And then you talk about another setup where Gujue tries to shatter to pretty much stop them from moving the cart to point 3, and Carpe bubbles himself and steps like right up on Gujue, so the shatter is completely focused on him, and because it hits the bubble, it nullifies the whole shatter. Insane stuff, right? It's South Korea is impressive here. Like, this is probably peak South Korea for a team that I don't think they had to put everything into. And China is very hard to tell if they're intimidated because they don't really show emotion. Every time they show the camera, it's just like, hey, we're losing, but we're here, right? And they're also young. So
good on them. Obviously, still that was insane.
To stay steely like that, that's a testament to the composure, man.
Yeah. Speaking of Carpe, and you don't get to see this when you watch the normal broadcast, but if you watch in the World Cup viewer, I'll keep going back to this thing. Yeah. He says, I need healing so many fucking times when he's at full HP. It drives me insane. Yeah. I think he's doing it just to fuck with Jodak because he's full HP and he's like, I need healing. It's like,
and Jodak's not a healer, so that's weird.
Yeah. I'm surprised he has Harmony or Bound.
I figured it'd just be bound to like another volley button.
Yeah.
No joke. One thing I want to say, so for this match, unfortunately, spoilers, it's 4-0, right? It was best of 7, and that's a rough look because, like, if you look at, like, I'm a big fan of the FGC, Fighting Game Community, and one thing, there's a lot of double elimination that happens in those tournaments, and part of those double eliminations is when you get to grand finals, you do a best of 5, right? And that's what a lot of players will say, that the best of 5 kind of dictates, like, the person that won, right? And here's that same thing. A best of 7 in a high-level Overwatch match kind of dictates who's the better team, and then up to this point, like as you go 1, 2, 3, 4, that's more of a statement. But part of this, we talked about the soft retreat or the soft reset, and on the final map, Gibraltar, which I dictate map of the match here. You definitely need to watch it. South Korea has an opportunity to take this map, right? They stop on the second round. They push it to round 2. Well, on the first round, first of all, so the first mistake, they allow New York to win a fight they should not have won, and allows them the full cap.
You say New York?
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, basically.
I guess it is New York. Yeah.
Basically, they allow South Korea to win a fight where essentially they get, I think, 2 picks, and then somehow they like miss a diva bomb, they drop a few final blows, and then South Korea is able, not North Korea, South Korea is able to spawn and take that fight, and then they move the cart straight through because they can't spawn. That's the first mistake. They moving to round 2, and I know you probably have something to say. Moving to round 2, and
I was going to say North Korea already won the World Cup.
All right, so on round 2, China has stopped New York pretty short, right? I think right after you cross bridge, like right up that hill. And they get there on their first time. They go pirate ship. It works out. Cool. They get right up on it. They die. Well, they essentially lose the fight, right? Instead of hard resetting, they try to do the soft reset by using that room with the fat giant or the fat health pack to stall as people come back. The problem with that is that you're coming back with new characters because you can't keep that Bastion comp, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you can't build alts fast enough to compete on that soft reset. So there's no benefit in doing it. You need to hard reset. You need everybody to get back as fast as they can to even pull, because if South Korea decides to chase you, you're pulling those people back with you. If they don't chase you, you get your hard reset. You get at least 2 attempts. They screw it up, and they get 1 half attempt. And they can't even move it that little bit because South Korea is ready for that fight because they built alts off the previous soft reset attempt.
Oh, that's rough.
Man, it's hard to watch. It was hard to watch when I was drinking, and it was hard to watch again when I was taking notes. But
that's something that takes a lot of experience to be able to do. Yeah, it was just it looked a little antsy. You know, it felt like even in the first 3 maps they felt like they were probably behind skill wise. So I don't know. I thought they were trying to do some, kind of innovative stuff too. You have to against South Korea, who's just ready. Yeah. But South Korea just doesn't. They don't mess up. You know what I mean? They're just. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they make any errors in any of their, pushes. So, and when they do, they lose a guy. They still capitalize off of it. It's just hard to beat that team.
And you made a good point. They're young, and it's definitely like David versus Goliath because you're walking into against guys who've done this for 3 years. Right? Yeah. Or this is the 3rd year. They've done it 2 years in a row, and they're always competitive. And you're the new guy that finally got a quarter. Like these guys had to make it past quarterfinals both years. So this is insane that they're here. Yep. They're taking second. But hats off to China, man. Hats off to UK. Hats off to everybody because you had a lot of players in this. Australia, like you had a lot of teams that stepped up. And this just makes next year look dangerous.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be sweet. I want somebody to take this South Korean team down, man.
I don't know who's going to do it.
I do want to see it happen.
I thought it was going to be us, but we took a step backwards, so I don't know what to tell you.
It's going to be tough, man. There's just a lot of talent coming out of that region for sure.
Maybe Russia will show back up. Maybe Russia next year will be something to contend with.
I just remember the Russian team that was just insane, that got 4 kills on 4 maps against South Korea. Everybody was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Insane days.
Yeah, it was insane.
Simpler times. No joke. But that's pretty much it for
good weekend, man. It was a solid World Cup.
Oh yeah, definitely enjoyable. I watched it multiple times, so it's one of those things where definitely go back. If you watched it already, go back and watch it again. If you watched it and listened to us, go back and watch it again.
Absolutely.
So one thing I wanted to mention, we probably should mention at the beginning of the show, and probably doesn't matter if you're already listening. We're on Spotify now.
Yes,
exciting stuff. Yeah. So that's one other way you guys can listen to us, and that's great. We're gonna make it as easy as possible. We want to make it so that if you look at your phone and you say, "Hey Siri" or "Hey Google, play the Birdwatchers podcast," it should find it anywhere, right? I don't even know if that works. I should probably try that. But you guys.
Yeah, what's Siri?
Email. You guys can email us at thebirdwatcherspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at thebirdwatchers. Watchers is spelled WATCH3RS. And then Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, the Birdwatchers podcast. You can find us anywhere. Just Google it. Yeah. Stuff comes up. If you haven't joined the competitive Overwatch forums, please do. That's where all the good discussions happen and everything that matters. I think it's up to 180,000 now, or 81. So it's climbing up there. I think 200,000, they're probably going to do something special. Who knows?
Dope.
But yeah, man, do you have anything left?
No, I think that's it, man.
All right. So what are we doing next? I think, Contender Season 3 is going on.
Yep.
So there's some stuff. Trials is
We're at the
happening.
very beginning of that. I'm sure we'll have a news episode coming up, just to kind of cover, the trades and everything. We probably still just need to wait a little while. We don't know a lot about the Chinese teams, so we're just trying to hear a little bit more information, see where the teams
are taking different routes on how they're announcing. Some better than others.
Yeah,
I won't say any names.
Oh yeah,
but we'll definitely have a list of stuff at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as always,
absolutely.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks guys.
I have destroyed more of your kind than I can count.
You weren't giving those guns to toss them around like trash.